with a forum.
What's your hammer?
I don't have a hammer.
All right, you're
That's
live.
okay, I have, all right. So, we're starting the meeting, we have a forum. The first thing I'd like to do is welcome our newest member, Jason Say. Sia, sorry.
No worries.
Boy, Jason Sia,
Make
and.
sure everyone has their mics on just before we really get into it here. You see the green light come on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, mine's up.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we'd first like to welcome our newest member, Jason Sia. And Jason, you know Mark and myself, and you just met Maddie, but perhaps you might just introduce yourself to Catherine.
Okay.
Catherine, just tell Jason a little bit about your background, which we've done before.
Okay, I moved to Ossining in 2015, so I've been a resident here of Ossining, or village of Ossining, for about 8 years now. Got about, as of this year, 33 years of construction experience, whether it was as an architect in design, or as physical construction, or as an owners or project manager in the construction field. Currently, I work at Columbia University in the city of New York as a project manager for the facilities and operations department. I handle a lot of projects, renovation projects, primarily laboratories and science renovations for classrooms and just laboratories and research, that sort of thing. So I have a wide range of from residential to U.S. Postal Service to healthcare and educational projects. So
All right, thanks. Catherine, you might just introduce yourself.
Catherine Wilson, I moved to Austin right before you, 2014. And before that, I was in the city, in architecture, mostly retail, corporate. And then I had 2 babies, and so I went to Austin doing a mom thing.
Great,
should also add, I live in the Sparta Historic District. So
yes, that's good. All right, so shall we make a motion to begin the presentation?
Sure, let me just call roll quickly.
Oh, yes.
As long as I'm just checking to see if anyone has joined us, another member, they have not. So Jason Sia,
yes.
Mark Goswell. Attendance. Hi.
Present.
Catherine Wilson
Here.
and Chair Garbler.
Here,
Thank you. All right, we can begin with continuing business of the board, HBC 07-2023, 159 Main Street.
yes, let's call that up as the applicant here. Yes, I recall you from last time.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So there's the revised specs, there are 2 sheets of revised specs. They have 2 different dates, does that mean,
Yeah, no, that's the initial one, so that's
Oh.
not the revised one.
all right,
That was the initial.
oh, right, so
Uh-huh.
now you got, that's the one that we made comments on, and now you
Right.
revised it.
Mhm.
Oh, here we go. I'm so
Yeah, that's
sorry.
it. Okay, so, there's a new Photoshop of the door, and the signage is off the building, right?
Yeah, so essentially on the second floor, I think on the first meeting, I had suggested to like add something on the windows, but we decided not to put anything on the second floor because like even when they gave us the sample, like we didn't like it. So we just decided like, let's just keep it clean. So on the second floor, there's gonna be nothing on it. So that's why you see the picture with no signage
Right,
on the second floor.
okay, and that's the revised door, and
And
the-
that's the revised door, so it's
Yeah.
a clear background, as you suggested, and just the logo.
the logo, oh, well, I mean, by logo, are you talking about the
The
diagonals?
HD
Well,
and
what-
the colors on the bottom.
Right, yeah,
Uh-huh.
all right, well, you scaled it back, and the gridding, I guess that's a security screen?
Gate,
Yeah, yeah.
that's from the back of
There you
the,
All right.
glass.
I don't have any questions, as, Jason, would you have any, since you? may have
Um,
seen this?
All right, well, I'm kind of glad to see this. Like when I saw the first one, the initial one was on the building, I would recommend it, like, can you go with something like this? Preferably. Yeah, so this is definitely much better, a little more subdued. I really don't have any issue at this point.
Any,
I think my only other issue is, I guess, obviously, it's just the 3D, the rendering of that, I guess. I'm assuming that's not gonna sit on that black block up at the marquee there. Yeah, that.
Oh,
that-
yeah, no, yeah.
Okay,
That's a good point. And it's gonna be, I guess, Bob's and all that, that will be refinished, so it disappears. I guess you don't want it ghosted, do you?
yeah.
You know, where you can still read everything behind it, you refinish it.
Yeah, that's gonna be painted.
It would be a real shame.
It's just how it looks now.
Yeah, yeah, okay, all right, great.
So it's, you don't get to have the whole thing, so it's, you have to
No,
scoot
because
over your
it's
door?
not- Yeah,
Okay.
just because there's gonna be a new business, that's the side for the first floor.
Okay.
That's the
All
space
right.
for the first floor.
Okay, any comments,
I think it
Carol?
looks good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so shall we make a motion, to vote on it? Do I hear a motion to vote on the application?
My motion to vote.
Second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor of accepting it, raise your hand. Unanimously carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess I get a certificate of appropriateness maybe this week or something. Great.
Yeah.
Great,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and next let's go to, we'll just follow the agenda then. We'll go to the, former restaurant.
Okay, so this is new business of the board, HBC 08-2023, 6 Rockledge Avenue. And the applicant is requesting a certificate of appropriateness to convert the former restaurant into a single-family residence.
Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for a while.
Yes.
Your name is Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Yeah. Jim? Okay.
JD, do you want the photos,
Let's start with the photos, so
Okay.
that's, so in the center, those are pictures of the neighborhood. In the center, you see that's the, restaurant as I stand today, or what used to be a restaurant. Because being in a residential district and where it's located, and it has been abandoned for, quite some time. In order to maintain that as a restaurant, it will have to be, a use variance, which is, as everybody has tried, is unlikely to be obtained. So the building revert itself to being a one family.
Damien, I'm sorry to interrupt, but for the record, I'll just note that it's my residence on the lower left and middle, yeah, the parking lot and the gray house, that's where I live.
Oh, okay.
Just as a note.
So you neighbor at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just for the record.
I live around the corner, so.
And,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
Jason's. All right,
Okay, so all we're proposing to do to this building is we're gonna remove the entry portico or the canopy that is there. And we're trying to maintain, there should be, yeah, I was gonna say. So if you go to the next page where it shows the site plan, it's gonna. Yeah, if you can zoom in, as this building through the past have moved forward, there were so many, additions to the rear of the building. And it kind of had eliminated or taken over all the backyard. So what we have proposed is to remove these ad hoc pieces in the back that were kind of kitchen, extension to the kitchen. So, the new owners of the house can utilize some of the, rear yard. So I think it's that shows basically we've taken all of that out. And, what we're trying to do is convert basically or revert this to, one family residence. Next. So what we've done is, try to keep the bar in some of the pieces of the existing building. There is a nice room in the back with skylights. We keep in that. We're putting one bedroom downstairs. We're making the primary bedroom at the second floor.
how much square footage are you eliminating? Because you're,
We're eliminating 600.
you know,
Yeah,
so
so,
people have more of a backyard.
yeah, so the house in itself is gonna be about 2,300 square feet. And the only exterior change besides taking the pieces of the rear yard is basically we added one window on this side on the second floor to make it an egress by code.
Where's that?
Keep going down. There, when you see right in the.
Over
corner.
there on the
Yeah,
roof,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So if you continue thinking of so nothing has changed in the front, we're keeping that as it is, retouching, that's the window.
Yep.
And you see in red, that's the area
Does
that,
the window match the framing and
Yes.
all the material that exists now in the front?
Is that 30 by 45 was the window?
I'm not sure what the size is, but I see grass.
Well, it's a
We're
code.
trying to,
No, I know, I'm just wondering, I thought second floor was supposed to be a little bit bigger.
Oh, is that
well,
right?
they are 5.7, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, 5.7 square feet, yes.
Okay.
It will meet the.
I-
index.
Anything else? Oh, are you gonna point out anything else about the drawings? Then we can have questions. I guess in one order, right? I changed the tempo. That's all loose with exterior material. to
It's, so
The
the,
existing,
yeah.
matching
the
existing.
clean and the, yes, the rear, we're gonna be, the new rear, we're gonna be matching the existing stucco.
No windows?
yeah.
No, no window.
No windows, no door?
No, we have it on the side. If you go back to the plan, 'cause that's, if you go back to the plan.
Oh, the red dash is the demo.
Yeah, so if you go back to the plan, then there'll be because when that part of the house is gonna be the first floor. You know,
The liner room, I think, is back there.
yeah, the laundry room and the stairs, there are existing stairs. Those are existing stairs. And that's the proposed laundry room. So you're gonna have access to the rear yard through the city stairs.
I mean, I don't think it's facing the rear, so it doesn't, in a lot of ways, doesn't matter, but I would think that for residents, they'd want to be able to look back there and see what's going on. You might want to consider a window back there, but I don't know. I don't think it's within our purview to require one.
No,
Right, I mean,
but-
I see your
you might-
point to looking at the elevation from the rear, but
You might,
it may, but it's just, it will have to be out of, from the bedroom. Or, I mean, otherwise from the laundry.
for the laundry, yeah,
Yeah.
at least see what's back there.
All right.
Um,
And at the side, which is very close to the neighboring.
Yeah.
building.
and we could put a window there.
Yeah, all the houses are.
Yeah.
Right,
Is the attic storage, just attic, right?
yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to show us before we have more
No.
questions? No, okay.
And what about all that landscaping in the front? Is that going to remain or?
Yes.
the railing and everything?
That's,
Speaking of that, though, the big question I have, and it's not apparent in the photograph, is that and I don't think it's shown in the photograph anywhere, there's a vinyl fence where your study is. Maybe go to the floor plan and I can show it to Catherine. I think Jason, you're familiar with the property.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going up till you get to the driveway. Stop right there.
yeah,
So in front of the door on the far right and those two little windows, there's a very large commercial gas meter and piping that pokes out of the ground. And the white vinyl fence is in front of it and it shields the view of that from the street. So I guess certainly my question are the fence and the commercial gas service lines coming out?
the intention is to remove the service, but we're talking with Canadians about the expenditure and so.
So just to be sure though, so long as it's up, is an agreement the fence stays?
Yes,
Okay, because we'd like to make that, in my view, I'd like to know that that's clear.
Yeah, I think having that in front of the house, the more you can screen it. I mean, I prefer you
it's a
to
white
remove it,
fence and it's also.
because it looks very commercial. They have that,
Yeah,
having that meter in front of the building makes it look very commercial.
If you wanted to do a different, oh, sorry, if you want to do a nicer fence, that certainly would be fine with us.
Yeah.
The plastic vinyl, it's not something that would be allowed nowadays. Any other points or questions? No?
Yeah, just reading the application, there's a requirement for 2 parking spaces. It's-
Do we have to get a variance for that, which we are discussing with the building inspector, but to, the process of this, if it is an existing resident, then it doesn't have any parking.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I just don't remember, just because there's always been cars parked on the road there. Is there an existing curb car?
The old survey shows, 1 parking space.
I probably imagine right in that cut on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah, any way to restore that at all, or?
that will be, if we're able to get rid of the gas meter, then we will have anything to have.
Okay.
All right,
I strongly encourage you to remove that gas meter.
well, I think you're preaching to the choir, but.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so long as it's there, it'll be covered. And, all right, no other comments or questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they're not really, just really removing that, I mean. In terms of the HPC, what we see from the street, which is what we can.
Well, we have
removing-
purged over everything, but
removing that,
Yeah.
yeah, the canopy, I mean, there are certain elements that make it look a little commercial like you can, but I think that like that'll ultimately be up to them. It's like change.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing is, are they gonna change the front door at all, or do something else, or just, everything is basically existing to remain?
Yeah. That's,
all right,
But you are removing, the awning is being removed.
yes, the owner is moving.
Okay,
in the interest of time, but also in the interest of allowing, Steve Casey, our other member, Steve, maybe just quickly, we can tell you what's going on with the, former Sparta restaurant.
former.
Or Goldfish
Former
restaurant.
Goldfish.
Well, it was Goldfish, then it became Sparta.
Yeah.
No, it was Goldfish, then it was, I don't know if you had a chance, Steve, to see this before, this application. Oh, okay, so do you need to be taken through it at all? Would you like to be taken through it?
Maybe just quickly. I
All right,
don't
so
know
I'll
the
let you-
committee. Yeah,
Please, Mr. Hernandez.
I'm sorry I'm late. I delayed.
No, this- You wanna?
All right,
I think if we have just a few minutes and I'll go through the points we discussed, so.
Maybe if you can zoom, yeah, up a little bit there, please. Okay. So this is the, I guess it's known as many names, but Greek Tower is the latest. 6 regulars, Goldfish,
dozens.
done.
Sparta.
So what we're doing here is we are reverting the restaurant to a 1-family residence with 2 bedrooms. And in order to accommodate the backyard, create a backyard for the family, we are removing part of the old kitchen and the old storage area that kind of have been ad hoc additions to the building. So that kind of show the area that.
You're moving 600 feet, as you
Yeah,
said, right?
600 square feet
And you're putting in a new window on the side,
on the
on
side.
the upper level, because egress is
Right.
required. Okay,
And then the next one shows the kind of the layout. And unfortunately, because of the existing layout and the rooms we have, right now we have a laundry and a bedroom at the rear. And like one of the suggestions have been to maybe we can add a window to bring sunlight into the laundry room or to the bedroom. But that's not, I mean, it's something I will bring back to my client, and hopefully they will like. that.
by the way, you're keeping the original bar, not that we have jurisdiction over it, but it's not, that's the bar. the current
Yes,
bar.
yes.
Yeah, okay, just curious. So anyway, Steve, the questions we went through were, have you ever been to this restaurant?
Yeah,
So you may know that, see the door on the far right, the 2 windows?
yeah.
Right in front of those windows and doors, a very large commercial gas meter pipes. They stick out of the ground. And they're covered right now from view because there's a white plastic fence. And so we confirmed with Jim, the applicant, that the fence will stay up, or possibly a nicer fence will go up, so long as that commercial gas line is in place. So, we'll never have to see the commercial gas lines from the street.
Chair, if I could just interrupt for one moment, and JB, Stuart Kahan has joined us via phone. We're having some technology.
Oh, great.
So Stuart is
Okay.
here too.
Great.
Thanks.
And the window on the second floor, is it noted to match the material and pattern on the ground floor? On the
I
other floor?
believe so, the elevation, we have that note.
Yeah, there's a picture of it, just in case anybody thinks,
Yeah, that thing's terrible.
yeah.
It really needs to be.
Kind of large and in charge.
Oh,
I like
all right. So, I don't have anybody have any questions?
Good luck, man.
Does anyone have any other questions? Steve, do you have any questions?
I don't. no.
All right, so, I can propose that we, I think it's ready to have a vote. And the motion is to vote on this application, but with certain stipulations. Would that be the way we proceed with it? We would vote to approve, do I hear a motion to vote to approve with the stipulations regarding the gas meter and the fence?
Make motion.
Yes. Okay, and second?
Second.
Okay,
Jason and Kat.
all right. So, all in favor with the stipulation that the gas meter remains concealed by a fence? Raise your hand. Oh,
Well, I was just gonna say about the
Oh,
fence,
go
but
ahead.
we had actually spoke about, we don't really necessarily like the white vinyl fence. Is there a stipulation that can be changed?
well, it's a good point. I didn't think to raise it because it's been there for so long. It was approved ages ago.
Yeah,
So I don't know if we have the ability to retroactively change it. I don't know how open the client is in improving.
There is a, I don't know if you've been actually inside the property, there is actually a stone wall in front of the
Yeah,
meter.
the meter, but you still see everything.
Right,
yeah.
so, I mean,
I'm not sure we have the, I don't know if it's within our purview to change something that was already approved when they built the.
I'm hoping
the
that
restroom.
that become a new point that, it's not a 3-year deal with Connecticut to remove a
Yeah,
meter.
it takes a while. Anyway,
And, then we will remove the meter and the fence.
Yeah, but I guess the point would be is that if the homeowner does down the road decide they Con Ed gets the meter out, they put in a more residential, smaller
Yeah.
meter in, that it's not a big deal, that they want to get rid of the fence, I guess they're gonna have to come back anyway to do something, if they want to put the fence back.
yeah, I guess anything they want to do to change it.
Yeah.
If they take the fence out, will they have to come back to take the fence out? Or we can make that part of the stipulation that,
Well, if they're coming back with a new kind of fence, I think that is part of Landmark's purview, storage HBC's purview.
right, no,
But right now, if they're just taking it down and there's no gas meter to look at,
right,
it's just a matter then of putting in some
Yeah.
suitable pavement. We've
Yeah.
had applicants come to us as a precedent. One revolutionary, they changed their driveway paving and they came before us, so it wouldn't be unprecedented for us to ask you if you're gonna, whatever you do with your paving to do that.
Stuart is letting us know the fence is not part of this application.
Right, they're not
No, we
changing.
have-
it.
Adjusting.
Yes,
Adjusting.
right.
Yeah.
We didn't think you were changing it. It was part of the prior approved work, so I don't see how we're able to tell you to change it.
So the gas meter.
Because you're not trying to change it right
Right.
now. So, yeah, so with the stipulation that the gas meter remains concealed by the fence that exists, or possibly a nicer fence or a different fence that you might want to bring before us.
okay.
That's the motion we're voting
Okay.
on. Again, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, that's unanimous.
That is unanimous. So a certificate of appropriateness with one condition, that the gas meter remains concealed. Thank you.
All right, and since you're here, unfortunately, that's another application with your name on it. Let's get to the, yeah, you can sit down, Jim, if you want. Let's go to the next.
Is that Liberty Street?
Yeah.
That's you also? All
It
right,
was interesting. I was always wondering whether whoever builds there will have a Liberty or a Rockledge address.
I think everybody is,
Yeah, whatever you say.
okay, so this application is HPC 09-2023 Liberty Street. Applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness for construction of a new single-family residence on an existing vacant lot in the Sparta Historical District.
oh, it's a picture of them.
This is us, right?
Yep,
There's a lot.
looking from Liberty.
That's looking from Liberty Street, yes. And then, I think there is another set. That,
You want me to start on this one
building
here?
elevations, I think building elevation has everything. So anyway, we will link.
No worries.
Yeah, there you go. So this is a vacant lot that it used to be used in the past for parking for the restaurant across the street. So what we're proposing now is to build a two-story home, 2,500 square feet. And what we're trying to do, there's a substantial difference between Liberty and Rockledge as elevation goes. So we are having the front of the house facing Liberty, and then we tacking in the garage underneath the house looking into Rockledge.
Yeah, I asked, well, first finish the presentation. I
Yeah.
think we should have questions at once. By the way, 2,500 includes the garage?
Yes,
Oh, there's a site plan.
yeah, yeah. So we're utilizing the existing pavement, we're trying to, the house fits all the setbacks, all the requirements. And when we.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read it. What's that number?
Sorry.
60 feet?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. And 10 and 8, yeah, and could you scroll up? Yeah, proposed porch, and
so that's the.
that's
proposed
30
porch.
feet, okay, so 60, 50, yeah. Okay,
Next.
these weren't on, were these part of the package that's on the website? I
Yeah.
didn't find these, okay, just my mistake then, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, and then that's why I said before, there should label elevations, but it is the whole set.
Oh, okay,
So as you come in from Liberty, we have the porch. We have a, quaint little home there with the living areas. And then it connects to the downstairs, there is an exercise room downstairs, and there is the garage. Over the garage, part of the garage is covered by the proposed deck.
Mhm.
So then next. To the second floor. So we use some, using a stone veneer, we use some hardy plank, and we created
is that stone under, on the elevation on the right, all that stone that looks like a concrete, that
Yeah,
might be the
that's the stuff.
foundation wall?
that
What
is
is that?
stucco right now.
That is, pardon?
Stucco.
Oh, stucco, okay.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
real stone veneer? I mean, it's some kind of ashlar or some kind of,
Yeah.
for the piers of the column?
Or is it more of a veneer tile?
Yeah,
I'm trying to,
Well,
we
we
had
have that concrete stuff that's sprayed.
it's like, and also just, well, I guess now, maybe, are we done with your looking at your
No.
drawing? Why don't we finish looking at drawings and go through the questions in order? Because we don't want to miss everything you wanted to show us.
so that's the elevation from the rear, though, this is what you see from Rockledge. And then we have two two 3D perspective, one showing from Liberty, one showing from Rockledge next.
So on the left, just so I
Well,
know.
can you-
what we're
oh,
looking-
go ahead.
That would be how we're looking at it from that former restaurant?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's, the next sheet that shows both views.
Oh, are you raising the house? Well, all right, finish going through the
Yeah.
drawings.
So this is the view from Liberty, Liberty, you'd be walking almost, you know. it
You're
is
at grade.
Right at grade, and from, if you're familiar with
But the road slopes down and that makes it look like there's a level front yard. If you could go
No,
back up a
it's
little bit,
kind of,
you know, it's,
right, right.
Like
from
in the
the-
back.
well, at grade is about three to a couple of feet to almost, you know, 8 or 10 feet. From the street at Liberty, and I know you know this, but I'm just saying, so you're filling in, I
There is
guess, a
like
lot of the lot.
plateau. As soon as you walk from the street, there's like a plateau in front of the house. And that's where we thought it makes for a nice, front yard.
I guess if you want to go back to the front of the pictures, you can kind of see it
Yeah.
from the,
All right,
And
well,
then
anyways, finish
next-
going through.
And that will be what.
yeah, just because I drove by this
Yeah, I mean.
the other day, and yeah, so
the
it slopes
wall-
up that way.
It slopes up significantly, but in any event, so from this view, you're seeing stucco coated wall with the garage doors, right?
Yes,
And, well, okay, keep going.
that's,
I said we have to go through all your drawings, I don't,
Yeah.
and then we could have questions.
Yeah, so that's the level, I guess, off, that's Liberty right there, right?
yes.
You can see a little bit of the curve.
So Liberty has, it's kind of, I guess, it's like a rock ledge and then it drops.
Yeah, precipitously, yes.
Yes.
We should know.
Yeah,
And did you, okay, finish going?
okay, that's,
Is that it?
Yep.
Were there any materials you brought, like what the siding or the trims would look like?
I can bring you inside and we're using the honey plank. And make a great color honey plank.
I saw some notes, maybe, well, now we can
Oh,
open
it is part of the elevation. You can zoom in to the side. Sorry.
Right, but I'm just wondering what it looks like, how faithful these colors are and all that, on the rendering. I saw, I think, notes for, like, I guess we're starting our question and answer. I saw notes for, vinyl trim. Is anything there on the facade? In terms of the siding, is it vinyl, besides the hardy board?
No, actually, it shouldn't say vinyl.
We'll go back up to the
Here,
elevation.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there it is, vinyl, yeah. And,
I think the notes that said, AZAC,
ASAC, yes.
oh,
That should be correct, but we're gonna use ASAC and go to the honey plank.
hardy panel vertical siding, the colors pearl gray, natural stone. Can you, I'd like to ask a couple more questions. Can you go back up again?
Yeah.
My concern is just the amount of stucco wall you're seeing from the parking lot. You know, you've gone to some trouble, of course, to put in some stone
In the front.
base for the columns. We've got stone, you know, a stone wall. And it just seems, I mean, that's obviously you're trying to, you know, really up the game with the hardy board and authentic stone. I have a reservation about all that stucco, looking at all that stucco from Rockledge.
kind of proposing.
The thing with the.
Could you go back, Maddie, could you, oh.
Yep.
Maybe go down the sheet? the other
Yeah.
direction. Yeah, right there.
I think that
And also
we
the
can
railing.
explore putting a base of,
Like a water table or something.
yeah. The stone, bring the stone from the front and create like a water table.
Something that I think makes it special, because
Yeah.
we have some stucco buildings which were non-compliant, and it doesn't add to the neighborhood, that's for sure, and it's really not something, well, and that's my opinion on it. The railing too, what kind of railing is that on the garage on top?
It's gonna be an iron rail.
Iron, okay, because I saw vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah. no, the rail is-
Iron, yeah, it should
we
be,
need to
it should be a
change that,
metal
yeah.
railing.
Yeah,
So on this elevator, so I think the lack of detail around the garage doors is a little troubling.
okay,
But then also the amount of space between the top of that garage door and the walking surface of the deck doesn't look realistic. I don't know how you can get enough structure in there and enough room for the garage door to return.
okay.
So I'm not sure that the drawing's accurate.
Yeah,
Um,
it's almost like it's,
But,
you know, a piece of paper just across the
it
top.
does, yeah.
There's
right.
no,
There's
you know,
no,
what is that made of? Does it turn the corner? Does it come down?
is there, yeah.
Some sort of edge?
Yeah, but I do, the windows in the garage doors, that is good, that's helping.
By the way, related to that too, I just thought, how does the deck drain? Is there gonna be actually a gutter that runs above the garage doors and catches the rain from the deck, or does it, is there something in the middle of the deck? What?
Probably gonna be an internal drain.
So there will be an internal drain. You're not gonna see any gutters down there?
No.
Oh, so that would,
Mm.
okay.
The gutter-
Yes,
The gutter actually might have helped.
well, I
And-
was wondering
and
about that.
with- I think you're gonna have a lot of trouble getting an internal drain in there, because with those garage doors, you're not gonna be able to get any slope on your pipe.
Well, those garage door are oversized and they
Yeah.
be able to reduce the garage door.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Are you, so you are filling the site pretty considerably with, I mean, obviously all this is filled with grass. Cause it's
Well,
not like
we're
that now.
trying not to do the least amount of excavation
No, I can imagine.
because of
Yeah,
the rock pressure.
Right, right. But you are, that is fill that, I'm just making a note of it. That's fill on the right. The site does not look like that. It's perfectly flat. And, there's no topo on your site plan proposed, so it's a little you know.
There actually was.
unknown.
there
But,
was,
there?
but I don't think it showed any type of, any new construction in terms of infill.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and then, right, and then the other question I have is, what's the driveway? Is that, stone, is it brick, is it blacktop? Cause it's gonna be a lot of,
It's gonna be blacked up to this.
Yeah, 'cause I
Try
think,
to keep as much of the,
yeah, you said you're gonna try to keep as much of the asphalt that was there
Yeah.
already. I think that's probably gonna get completely chewed up
it will, and
during
it's
construction.
terrible. Well, it's
So-
in terrible, can you go back up to this, to the very top where the site plan is, Maddie, please? Cause you know, the Rockledge view is actually very prominent, much more so than you'll see on Liberty. And there's the site.
That's the existing.
That's the existing, right? I don't see any proposed, yeah,
no.
there is proposed there. So you're
There?
proposing, I guess you're proposing all of this, because it looks like that's very different than what we have now. It's virtually flat. It's at an incline, but it's flat. And then that's a fairly big mass of paving that's gonna take up most of the southern part of the lot.
Well, the house is gonna set kind of where the pavement, it's all asphalt right now.
Oh, yes, I know, and
Oh.
you know,
He lives next door, so.
I'm very aware of what it is.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, if you could go back down, so it's 60 feet, yeah, we're gonna have 60 feet of asphalt. And I'm wondering if, we,
actually, we are reducing some of the asphalt because now you're gonna have an entrance way. Well, right now, most of it is asphalt.
are you gonna keep the drain, the catch basin?
Yes. Mhm.
Which isn't located there, but it's just for the committee to know, down here somewhere is a catch basin.
Probably gonna need to see a section through this to sort of understand. Like, I kind of get what you're doing with the elevation, but the amount of fill towards the rear and then on the one side,
There's the front.
towards, I mean,
Yeah.
the rear of the plot.
Yeah, the rear of the lot, but then I think there's gonna be a lot of fill to get from the street to the front door.
Yeah,
Unless it's bridge.
Could you go back up a little bit, Betty, please? The other direction, yeah. So stop, so there's gonna be, The only, right here, you step down a couple of feet or at most 1 foot, you can, jump down and get on the lot. And then the difference in elevation between the street and the existing grade increases dramatically. So you're filling all of this area and you're bringing it up to the elevation of this part of the street? Is that it? And
No,
people walk that
no.
way?
No,
No,
You bring it up here?
that's the issue, sorry. I'm going the wrong way.
we can,
I think a section
I
would
think
be,
like Jason says, that we can provide you with that section.
yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not clear how someone entered, where your entry point, and you're gonna have also sidewalk or something.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have people just walk on the grass in this hill. That looks like it's going down to, this will be higher than I think this. I think that's what you're doing, or are you
Yeah,
elevating
Because
it?
everything, yes.
I'm not really sure what you're doing, but I assume you're doing that. Yeah, a section would be it's easy to do, I assume, right? Yeah,
Right.
and then if you could also just show us where the path is to get from Liberty
Yeah.
to your.
That's what I just
home.
mentioned, they need to provide a landscape plan, just showing new proposed pathways and fill. And then even the driveway in the back.
And just the proposed deck ends here, right? Because
Yeah.
there's just a dotted line here, but I assume that's just a line weight thing. And this heavy line, could you go back down a little bit? No, the other direction, sorry.
The other,
Yeah. What's this?
I think, is that the drive?
See, it's a pavement,
Of the
yeah.
existing line of the, it's kind of confusing the way we have it, because when we have it on the screen, it was in color, and didn't print in color, so I think that's.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot more helpful to see that sort of in color of what you're doing in terms of
Mhm.
the new fill, the existing grade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Are you gonna re-blacktop it or literally just keep the blacktop that's the deteriorated blacktop?
well, we're probably gonna.
I don't think it will survive construction.
It could, but at least down there it might, but I'm just curious. So a landscape plan, as Jason mentioned, I think would be very helpful for everybody.
Okay.
Just to understand how all the walks work.
So
and everything.
landscaping plan, section through the building, we talk about stone base.
Something to,
It's
lessen.
necessarily a section through the building, but more or less a section through the building and the site, and just to see how that really is, or what's going on there in terms of how you're changing the site and really sort of gradually stepping down from Woodbury back down to Rock Ledge along the one side.
Yeah, I just would encourage you to do anything you can to take the southern elevation that has those 2 garage doors and, with the pavement and just try to get away as much as you can from just having the stuff at the side. It's a very prominent view.
Actually, comments on the elevation.
Yes, please.
So on the north elevation, yeah,
Manny, could you go to the north elevation, please? Down further.
All right, just trying to correspond with Stuart here.
Okay.
yes, on the north elevation, I noticed that the porch is only 4 feet deep. It's, I mean, you can't even really have a chair on there and sit in the 4 feet deep. It's it's gonna look really phony. It's not gonna look at all authentic like a real porch, because it's just so shallow. It's sort of, I
Okay.
mean, it's just like a gesture at this point. So, I would think, at a minimum, you'd want to go 6 feet deep with that. 8 would be better, because then,
Does that
somebody could
count as
actually
a
sit
setback?
out there
Oh.
and, and you could actually occupy the porch and use it like a real porch. But at 4 feet,
It's more just a, decorative. touch.
yeah, it's like a piece of
Well,
stage. So,
Right.
yeah.
Does the 30-foot setback
We didn't
go to the
really
porch? or
anticipate somebody
something?
sitting on the side.
The intention was to just have a decorative porch.
Mhm.
Just as an aside, does the 30 feet go to the facade of the building or the front of the porch?
From the porch.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
yeah. So they've got a constriction.
It's right up against
With,
the,
lot
it's
coverage.
still, at 4
Okay.
feet, it's almost,
But
It's
maybe,
not- it'd almost
maybe
be
give
better
it
if it wasn't there.
huh?
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't, nobody would ever be out there and it would look phony.
I mean, as we were saying about the rear elevation, you showed on the side where you've got some sort of trim at the porch in the back, so that doesn't really carry around to the 3D rendering.
Can you go to the other elevations, Manny? So is it up? Yeah, keep going. Thank you.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, so you see it there.
Yeah, so the elevations, it's coming down the ground. Yeah, so you're relatively raising this home fairly high. I mean, the grade is coming up to meet Liberty.
Yeah.
Not so many.
There's those rocks there, actually.
Well, no, I understand the reason.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, trying to figure out what you did.
Like, the one thing that's I'm missing in some of this elevation, a little more of the detail, you show the gutter, but no downspouts.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that really needs to be seen. The other is, you know, what are you doing with the flashings on the roof? What is that gonna look like? What kind of material is that gonna be?
I'm not sure we need the section necessarily. Now I see in this elevation, you get an idea of the grade change. Although there's having the landscape plan showing the retaining wall, see that retaining wall? That would be, it would be good to know, is that a stone retaining wall? Is it just landscape ties? What is it? You know, there's probably more retaining wall there than we appreciate just by looking at the plan you gave us.
Awesome. Having a standing seam roof myself, are you planning on putting any snow guards on the front porch? Yeah, okay, yeah, so as much detail as possible into the elevation.
Okay, it's certainly a substantial.
So I see there's a window in the attic. Is that space gonna be occupied?
No,
I have to say, it looks like a nice home, the layout, very nice.
thank you.
Yeah, it definitely fits with site well.
I heard about it going on that lot, I just can't imagine how small this house is gonna be.
What's the dimension, how wide and how long, basically? Just curious. Site plan? Go to site plan.
The width, sort of 20, oh,
Yeah,
The
go to the
garage.
site plan right there, thank you. Does it show? I think it must show.
no, that's.
Oh, it doesn't really show, yeah, so how wide is the home?
So you're looking about 29, 30, about 35 feet wide.
35 by 37?
Yeah.
Oh, Butler's Pantry, good, we're really elevating the neighborhood. I think it's the first house in the neighborhood, the Butler's Pantry. Okay. Okay,
Yeah, we did try to put all the amenities in that.
all right. Any other questions or comments?
Just a question, well, how come, I know you mentioned it, but we're orienting the front of the house to Liberty instead of Rockledge, when there's just more site available? Was there a reason?
It was just when we looked at the site and we walked the site, it looked like walking out, having a front lawn, walking right onto Liberty. It gave more of a private, feeling to the house. That was how we came out of that. So then also, if we put the front to Rockledge, then also we had to deal with the garage and the front door being at the same or competing with each other.
So, Steve, any comments?
No, I just want to make sure we're clear to him. Do you know what the takeaways are?
No, I was just actually, it's a good point,
Yeah.
we're gonna repeat it.
Yeah.
I forgot how we do this, we vote on that, with the changes?
Well, are you prepared to vote this evening? or
No,
do
we're
you
not,
just-
we're asking for more information from the combat.
Okay, so you can just make a list?
Yeah,
It's-
the list here
Must
is,
be.
I think, Manny, you have to put this down in the, minutes, right?
Well, Jamie's gonna do the minutes, or I think Stuart actually will dispatch the minutes, I'll put it in my notes.
So we're asking for a landscape plan showing, the paving for not only the rear access, but the front access. We're asking for a change in the southern elevation to minimize the amount of stucco around the garage and the sides. And we're looking for confirmation of what the railing is on top of the garage. We do not wish to see any vinyl railing material. We asked for a section, but I'm not sure that's necessary, but unless somebody wants us to have
We
it.
just said, we have an accurate, grading topography plan to show what the new topography is.
Yeah,
Um,
and
that or a section, either one.
well, I think to that point, it's a good point. That was topo on your site plan, just,
But
Existing.
no, that's not, I don't think that's existing, that's a proposed topo you're doing.
no, that's
Popping up
kind of,
quickly.
that's from the, it's not from a new survey, that's from the GIS map.
Oh, so that's really old. All right, so yeah, we need new topo, proposed topography. And something that indicates retaining walls. Because your section indicates, I thought your section looked like it was doing the grading that I saw on the site plan, but it doesn't matter, just something for you to confirm. And the type of paving for access to the front. So we had the landscape plan with topo.
New proposed.
New births are proposed. Garage elevation would be restudied, minimizing the amount of stucco, hopefully increasing perhaps the amount of stone veneer or something else according to the architect. More information on what the railings will look like, indication of retaining wall, what the materials are. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Mark, you had raised some
Yeah,
points
the
about
front porch, it's too shallow, it's not.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was doing
Well,
here.
that's
and
part of,
that
I guess
comes
then
to
that will be part of.
Right about
studying.
here, and
Oh,
that's,
good.
as Mark said, that's.
Yeah.
not a-
I mean, the front porch on my house is about 5 foot, and it drives the wife very crazy because it's not deep enough.
So are we saying that we want the applicant to, that we're voting and we're,
You're not voting.
no, that we will vote, but next time, we think we'll vote next time, but you'd like to have the new drawings reflect the deeper porch, is that what?
Or some other treatment. I mean, if the house doesn't fit on the site because the porch gets 2 feet deeper, then do something else on the elevation. I mean, I don't think we can just prescribe that the porch has to be 6 feet deep.
Yeah,
No, I don't see how we can.
It needs to either be a real porch or something else.
something else we thought was.
Something else.
To
Yeah.
his point, and I think what we would all agree with, it just looks, it can look just bad, quite frankly, if it's not, you know, authentic or so. Maybe just go back and revisit that.
All right,
So I think that
what else, Jason?
was a little more detail on the elevations as far as,
The downspout.
downspouts, gutters, other various things that are actually gonna sort of, what you're gonna see from,
The
that you
garage.
see in your renderings,
Mhm.
just to give it a little more depth to what we're gonna end up with at the end of the day.
All right. So, landscape plan with topography proposed in the paving. Restudy the garage elevate, the southern elevation, side elevations to minimize the amount of exposed stucco. Railings to be, described, not to be vinyl, parentheses. Indicating the extent of retaining walls and the material. Studying the porch in the north elevation. What do we want to say about studying the porch? So you either reevaluate, increase the depth or do something else? What do we do to make it clear to the applicant that we're looking for? What would you suggest? That
Yeah, increase the depth or study alternate articulation.
okay, if you heard that. Maddie or Stuart. And then information on the extent of downspouts and gutters and the material thereof. The roof is asphalt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think when
Oh,
if you're coming back, I think I'd like to see some samples of
I
materials.
was about to say that.
Okay.
It's on the application form, and
Yeah.
so we're not asking for something that
No,
shouldn't
that's
be.
fine.
Material for the roof. So samples for the roof, the siding. Anything else that's a signature element.
In the colors that are proposed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And can we get, I don't think we have to, obviously it's in our mutual interest, you want to know, but at least 12 inches by 12, not.
Sample board.
Yeah, sample border, but not a small,
Yeah.
Color chip. no, we had once an applicant who provided a ridiculously small sample.
Wasn't helpful.
Okay, well, it's certainly an impressive home, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
We want to take a motion to adjourn this application until next time.
Yes, do I hear a motion to adjourn? So the next meeting for this application,
Motion to adjourn.
first, second? Second. Okay, motion's passed, so that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see you.
Amy, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right, next up is HPC 01-2024, 165 Main Street, Open Door Medical Center. Applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness for proposed facade changes that include windows and rooftop mechanical screening.
Yeah, it's not here.
Is there someone on, oh, I knew there was somebody.
Is the applicant here?
Sure is. All right, Rob, I brought you over as a panelist. If you can unmute and turn on your camera.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Rob Masters from Canon Design. I am representing Open Door Family Medical Center for the 165 Main Street application. Michelle Noe, who was intending on attending from Open Door, was unfortunately had to attend an emergency medical appointment, so she was unable to be there in person.
Right. Rob, what document would you like us to start with? I have the elevations up right now on your screen. Hopefully you can see.
Yeah, so we can start here and then we can toggle over to the photography file, and then we can progress to the architectural specifications for the windows and the mechanical enclosures. But just essentially at a high level, what we're really looking to do here is to replace, from a fenestration perspective, we are replacing existing windows on both the south facade as well as the east facade. We're looking to replace the southern facade windows, which are the Main Street facade, in kind from an architectural image perspective, but we're upgrading them from an energy performance perspective. And on the east elevation, along the aqueduct walk, we are replacing some existing glass block with architectural windows which match the performance of the front facade, and also work in kind with the adjacent fenestration. From a mechanical enclosure perspective, we are doing some infrastructure work on the building in response to interior upgrades of Open Doors clinical facilities within the building. So we're showing some rooftop enclosures here on the Main Street elevation. And then we have another enclosure on the lower roof that faces the aqueduct walk, and you can see it there in the elevation. There is existing mechanical equipment actually closer to the walk on that low roof, so we're removing that equipment along with some equipment that's behind it. We're replacing it with a new unit and putting a screening enclosure on it along with the units on the high roof in coordination with the zoning resolution. We can flip to the
photos.
Yes, the photos there's some photography as well as some architectural imagery here. So you can see the existing Main Street elevation. This is taken from across the street at the branch between Main and Church. So we're looking back at the existing building. And then again, I think, yeah, if we scroll over, you can see that facade facing the aqueduct. And you can see that existing mechanical equipment as well as some existing equipment that's up on the high roof as well. And you can see some of that glass block that I mentioned. So here on the aqueduct elevation, you can see both, yeah, at the
Yeah.
center of the screen, as well as over at the bump toward Main Street. There's the existing glass block that would be replacing. I think if you continue further on, well, yeah, so you could see here an existing kind of corner view of that existing condition, as well as an existing roof plan that shows kind of the distribution of existing equipment on the high roofs as well as the low roof there, just by your pointer.
You can't see the existing equipment now, can you?
You can see the existing equipment on the low roof, and you can see it there in the middle of the photo. Yeah, there's some equipment on the high. Yeah, you can see some on the high roof as well, which we're replacing.
But you can't see it from the Main Street side.
No, you really can't. That larger equipment on the high roof is far enough back that you can't see it from Main Street. So here we're showing a rendered view, really looking at that same facade, but gesturing in the mechanical enclosures at the rooftop. The units themselves are actually quite a bit smaller than the enclosures, but in order to get the free air space we need for the equipment, the enclosures set off of the facade, the exterior enclosure of the units in each direction, so they're a little bit larger than the units themselves, but it's giving us the opportunity to provide a controlled screened enclosure that we can manage both the face of it as well as the color. And these enclosures are similar to the mechanical enclosures that are being proposed for the 2 Church Street project across the street, more or less from the vantage point of this photo, which was reviewed under separate application. You can see here from the corner view up the hill and looking back at those screened enclosures for the mechanical equipment. And again, this is to service the upgraded Article 28 medical facilities within the building. So, and just for reference, Article 28 is the state's provisions under the public health law for facilities of this type. And then, yes, one further. So here we are on the aqueduct again. You can see that low roof enclosure. We've pulled that unit back from the street, but again enclosed it, and then you can see the backside of the high roof enclosures as well. You can also see in this image where the glass block has been replaced by architectural windows in keeping with the adjacent fenestration. And here are just some side-by-sides of the Main Street facade. You know, again, we're really looking to match the configuration of the existing glazing in kind, but replace it with architectural storefront glazing that meets the energy performance criteria that we need for the facility.
And you're gonna reuse the same Venetian blinds?
We just used that in the photograph. I think I'd have to actually circle back to the interior fit out, but I think
I was not being serious. I
He was,
apologize.
and also we don't have jurisdiction over the interior.
Yeah, we don't. We don't.
But it was a nice.
It was hard to tell the difference, so that's why I was just, yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And again, here at the adjacent facade, again, we're really looking to keep the configuration of the glazing in kind, but bring it up to the performance standard necessary.
But to keep it in kind, is it just to sort of simplify the process, or don't want an opportunity to maybe make the elevation a little bit less bland, for lack of a better word.
Well, I think if contextually, if there was a level of character that we were looking to introduce at the facade at the street level, I don't think Open Door would be averse to that at all. I think our thought was that we wanted to kind of maintain consistent character with the existing, but I think the opportunity to introduce something a little bit more contextual with the historic buildings along Main Street would certainly be something we could pursue.
Yeah, it's just it seems like a lost opportunity, to replace it with something that was there that may or may not have just been something that just got thrown in just because it was easier to do it that way and just call it a day. And that's what we end up with today.
Understood. I think that is certainly something that we can that we could explore. Yeah, I would agree. I think it would be appropriate for us to introduce some, whether we look at some mullion patterns or some opportunities to bring some historic context to these storefronts. I think that's something that we could easily incorporate.
That'd be great.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question about the enclosures on the top. Right now, the mechanical equipment that is there is not visible from the front, but these enclosures will be.
Yep.
Is there a reason for that? Will the new mechanical equipment be higher and more bulky? Or what is the reason for these?
So the existing units that are closest to Main Street on the high roof are actually smaller individual units, and because of the age of the facility, the performance of those units, both in terms of the air changes required and also the filtration required, do not meet the current healthcare standards for ambulatory facilities. So the new units, which we're providing for the renovated spaces below, are larger, more robust units than the existing rooftop equipment. So it does require a larger unit than the smaller split systems that are kind of distributed up on that high roof today.
What again is the enclosure made of? I forgot what we're doing for the HVAC.
And so we do have some literature on the units, the unit enclosures, excuse me. So they are, yeah, you could see here. So it is a louvered metal panel.
Is it gonna be painted it's got some color to it, not in that picture, right? Is that?
Well, the color selection was intentional to try to visually kind of back it off from being too obtrusive. We could certainly look at other opportunities within the palette. You can see there's a lot of kind of lighter neutral ranges, and that's really what we were striving for. But we could certainly look at the opportunities within the palette. You can see that shadow gray that we've selected.
Okay, yeah, it's unfortunate, the colors don't, I don't know, in my mind, the colors are kind of off from probably what they might be in reality. It looks very pink to me, the shadow gray. If you're coming back again with other changes or modifications as suggested, perhaps you could bring back a sample of what that shadow gray really looks like. A cup,
Sure.
Piece of the material.
Yeah, I believe we had requested samples from the manufacturer, so we can certainly bring those forward.
Gotcha. Just going back to the, especially the front elevation, and I think not to speak for Stephen, but I think what he was sort of driving at was they're quite substantial in terms of the view of what you get of those. I mean, in terms of the equipment that's going up there, I mean, how big is that equipment? I mean, is it as tall as those enclosures, or they just a, you know, a smaller box that's sitting on the roof that's not quite as obtrusive as the screening? You know, do you have a rendering of what the mechanical equipment looks like without that screen?
I'm just taking a quick look in the architectural drawings to see if we have a profile view.
Does that need to be that big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we making a bigger problem
You're
with the
talking about-
screen than
Yeah.
a small mechanical unit sitting there?
It's really, does that have to be that tall? I think maybe, Ray, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Jason.
Because
Yeah.
because that's the standard screen size,
You know, so to provide a clearance around the unit, you get something that big, whereas, you know, the actual obtrusive
Because-
mechanical unit is smaller and you don't really
And
see
you
it.
don't need this.
Right.
Could possibly something else be done? Are you also concerned about acoustics? Was that size maybe for acoustic baffling? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out. But it's a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
perhaps it doesn't have to be that tall.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the architectural details currently, and it looks to me we don't have a dimension off of the top of the unit, but it looks like the unit excuse me, the enclosure is about 2 feet taller than the unit. So I do think there's some opportunity for us to reduce that height so that it is less visually intrusive. And I think working with the sight lines from the street and recognizing that the screen, even from the street perspective, wouldn't even necessarily need to meet the height of the unit to screen it effectively from a visual perspective. I think we can take a look at that height again and see how we can reduce it.
it was 6 inches or a foot lower than the unit, that you still probably wouldn't see the unit.
Exactly.
Because if the screens do end up needing to be that big, then I think they need to be something that looks like it's a feature or part of the building and not just a screen.
Yeah.
I was good, yeah,
Because they're quite significant, as you can see in the rendering.
Hmm.
So how you'd want to sort of pick up on the character of something in the context with what you would do with the screen would probably be a better direction than just put a nondescript screen around it. Because you can't, they're too big to hide, no matter how mundane the screen is. It's unfortunate.
But the other point possibly in your color selection is maybe another point is to maybe try to match it to the stucco,
Hmm.
you know, and make it just disappear in that respect. One thing,
Yeah, I was gonna say that, yeah.
you make it contrasted, I can understand that, but maybe perhaps if it just kind of blended in with the rest of the walls, you know, would
Just
also be
part of
less
the-
intrusive.
Part of the building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, something to consider.
Understood.
Well, no, the paint of the,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, yeah, if you could take a look at the color palette available and then maybe try to think of something that might blend in better with the building.
or you could paint them, I assume. To
Yeah.
match.
They do custom colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not
Field
outside the
paint
realm.
is possible.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean, I think it's probably definitely appropriate on the lower side on the aqueducts, something that would screen it, but again, you know, I would match it to the size of the unit.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, standard 8-foot panel, and you've only got a 4-foot unit, you
Right,
know?
exactly, yeah.
Give me a 4 or 5-foot panel.
If you don't need it, you don't
Right.
need it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Understood. That's good feedback.
Because you can see from the way this looks here, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's, you know.
I
it's
mean,
a-
if it wasn't like if you cut it off at the midpoint there where you
Yeah.
see, that would be awesome if it was.
Right,
only
Sure.
had-
that high, right,
Yeah.
then it almost disappears, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
this
think
sticks out from, if you go back to the uncluttered version, the
Right,
photo of it, you're like.
Sure.
"Oh, that's
Yeah.
significant add."
I think if we can take half the height of that upper panel off and we can do a better job of color matching, we might even, I need to coordinate with the mechanical engineer, but we may be able to, if we have the free air available, we might be able to go with a subtler panel style in lieu of the louver. So I think lower, better color, and perhaps a cleaner profile, I think we can do a much better job of visually minimizing these enclosures.
I mean, the location of mechanical equipment, is it fixed, or is it, you know, this is a good spot for it, you know, is it sort of, can you move it back a little bit more to help reduce the sightline? I don't know. I mean, it depends on the building and the structure and
Yeah,
where you're running shafts and things like that. So I mean, it's hard to do, but even if you're gonna be building something to accommodate all the mechanical systems going up and down.
Yep.
Space anyway, it doesn't matter if you move it over a couple feet.
we can take a look. I'm looking at I mean, we have some existing conditions to contend with. The western unit is coordinating with an existing elevator bulkhead, which is kind of pushing it towards the front of the building. Although the one that's closer to us here in the photo, the eastern of the two units, looks like we could have some opportunity to push it back a couple of feet. So I could certainly explore that with the structural engineer to see if we have that opportunity. Right now, the unit, it looks like we could push it back a bit based on the location of the existing structural line. So we can definitely explore that. I think as I said, the further unit there is a bit more fixed because of the bulkhead. But again, I think we can lower that screened enclosure and work on the panel color and even the profile.
And this particular rendering, like if you were, 50, 60 feet further, if you walked backwards 50, 60 feet, you're further up the hill. So.
Right.
I mean, this is two things that are really working against you here, from trying to hide this mechanical. I mean.
Yep.
This is Main Street, this is front and center in Ossining, so it's very important to us. And then second of all, you approach it from a much higher elevation, so it's very difficult to screen this, so you may want to do something that's more contextual than just, because even if you lower it a few feet, it's still, it still might be objectionable. And I hate to make things more difficult for the open door. It's a great organization, but it is also very important that we respect the context of Ossining that we have.
All right.
Understood.
Can we just go to the aqueduct elevation for the glass block? I get what you're doing here. Do we need to keep that notch out for, I guess, what I presume was probably an original door that went out there from that one window?
Which one?
Yeah, in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, this guy here.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's the one that has glass block in it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at your elevation on the drawing part of
Yeah,
it,
you can see there used to be a door there.
you just want to go to the plan, the elevation on the plan.
This building's been like 20 different things.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like the one thing that's.
And we're not.
It's just the size, and it's lower than the other two, and.
Yeah.
On this elevation, you don't actually have that water table that's there.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is there an opportunity to just sort of fill that in and just make them 3 windows of the same size?
I think that's definitely feasible. And we should update this elevation to reflect that that little water table wall there that's running along.
Okay. That's good. May I summarize so far what we've said? Asking for more information. We're asking you to reduce, if possible, the height of the HVC enclosures on the roof, possibly to study an alternate color that could match the building, to provide a sample of the material. We're asking for this new storefronts on the street to be redesigned or studied to perhaps enhance the historic character. Is that the way we put it.
Mhm.
And then, the aqueduct elevation, if the new window could be, made exactly the size of the adjacent and to have the, portion, that was the dip for the threshold that was the door to be filled in with the water table, water. course. Water, right?
Water table.
Is that what we, all right, well, okay, water table, Matty. All right.
Okay.
I think those are the comments we agreed on.
And thank you for getting rid of the glass block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they gonna need
Absolutely.
any, that glass to be obscured at all, or is it just gonna be vision glass?
I will refer back to, let me just take a quick look at the plans in those areas. I don't believe they need to be obscured. Yeah, the windows toward Main Street are into public space, so we'll be able to manage those. And then we have, let's see, on the first floor along that edge.
Only reason I ask is they usually put it in just so people can't look into for whatever reason. So if it's gonna go back to that,
Right,
probably
well,
to see whatever.
HIPAA privacy, yeah.
Correct. Now, your next presentation, you could, address that, please. I think we just have
Absolutely.
one more application, that we need to go through. I think we've had a good conversation about your project, very
Yeah.
effectively.
Very good.
Very much for all the information.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the time.
A motion to adjourn this application?
Yes, a motion to adjourn the application. First, anyone want to put on the table? Catherine, second?
I'll second.
Back, Steve, right, okay. So the application is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, and on the last application, I think it's very quick to get this over with. Could you pull that one up, Maggie?
Yep, this is HPC 02-2024, 323 Spring Street. Applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of solar panels and mechanical equipment. So,
The applicant is online or no?
yep, William, I'm bringing you over now. If there's anyone else for this application, please raise your virtual hand. I'll bring you over as well.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Hello.
So my wife and I are wanting to install solar panels on our the southern roof of our home. I believe you've been supplied with the requested materials that that you asked for. The home itself is a non-contributing resource to the historic district itself, and the solar panels are unlikely, would not impact the view shed or streetscape, so.
Okay, that was the only drawing, correct? And the only piece of information you've provided, that
Yeah.
one drawing, is that correct?
No, we've got a
No,
few
there's-
here.
Good, let's see what else we got. I didn't.
Got some photos loading slowly here. All right.
So there were a number of photos that were requested of the house itself from a number of different views.
All of it?
I'm sorry, zoom in or out? Out.
That's it, okay.
Just got really up close.
Yeah.
There's not much space between in the backyard to get a.
Oh, then there's also, I don't know, is that the last of the pictures? Because,
Oh, yeah, I know where that is.
yeah, I
Now I
mean,
know.
you
Right.
you see a portion of the roof as you walk up Spring Street. I did that,
Yes.
today.
On South
You know,
Elm.
but it, obviously it faces south, that's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's, okay. Is there anything on the type of solar panel it is, what the solar panels look like?
Yes, in the specs. And then I believe there's also an example of the solar panels on a different roof.
Right.
The image.
Okay, can we stop right there for a second? And I could just share with you, William. I'm Dan, by the way, Garwood. I'm your neighbor at 5 Rockledge.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
We approve, we're more open to solar panels nowadays than I think it's been in prior commissions. But one thing we've done is, and we have a pending design standards update, which is we expect to be uploaded.
Uploaded tomorrow.
Oh, is that right? So Seth approved it. Okay, great.
Well,
That's not the historic guide, that's
Oh,
the
okay.
design guidelines. In any event, long story short, what we've discovered or what we've come to a conclusion of is that when we put panels up, we prefer to see, stop right there. Panels without aluminum or stainless steel contrasting metallic trim. I'm not quite sure from that picture if you've got exactly what we're preferring not to have. We just like to have the monochromatic black panels. And I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, because that panel looks like it has a white grid on it, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. Is that in our standards, we want the panels to be all black. So that they actually, you don't notice them as much as opposed to when they have the white lines or the white frame.
I believe there is a later photo, it might be in a different file, that is showing the an example.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what we prefer not to have.
Okay.
If you go to like the Smith House on State Street, you'll see this it's a historic white home, and it has monochromatic black panels. So they're common to get. I don't know how much it depends on the contractor you're talking to or the system you're selecting.
so
but
this is from the system that we've selected.
Well, as I
And
said,
as I stated earlier, under section 1409 from the state, this house is not a contributing resource to the historic district at all.
yes. It's
And
not a historic building.
the solar panels do not are not affecting the view shed of the historic district.
Understood. Is there a reason, one last question, William, is there a reason that the pattern is kind of randomized at the end? It's not, if you go to the roof elevation. Yeah, is there a reason for
There,
the
but there's certain areas that are shaded from the large trees on our neighbors, and there's also roof elements that prevent panels from being located in that rectangular area.
Okay, so the pattern has to be the way it is, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you know whether or not the panels can be monochromatic black?
I believe that's an option that we can propose, but the panels look like that because they last 25 to 40 years and do not need replacing. So that's the technology as it is.
Sorry, that's my wife.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
It's not that it's not gonna work for you, we understand, but they're also, as I said, on the State Street and historic homes, which has many more panels than you're proposing, they're all monochromatic black, and the client went through the same.
Understandable, but they are also a historic home, and this is not. And this is not a contributing resource.
I understand. I'm asking a question, and I guess, obviously you're here for our approval, and
Yes.
we're allowed to make comments according to.
You are.
That's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to see whether, you can cooperate or it's something that for you is written in stone, so to speak.
As far as I understand, the design of the panels is the design of the panels. We received the invitation to this meeting at 10:40 this morning with no prior information, so we were unable to have our the contractor on the meeting. So,
Oh, I see. I'm sorry you had noticed like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I apologize for being a bit brusque, but
Well, I can understand your situation.
Yeah, but yeah, if it's, you know, if there are different models that they offer and they offer one that's monochromatic black, that would be our preference.
Having said that, I'm not sure. Well, okay, I mean, I think Mark said it the way it sums it up. It's not our first preference, I would think, I possibly, you might agree when you look at all black that it might even enhance the, appearance of your home instead of the color it is proposed to be now. That's of course a personal.
Oh, we have a representative on the call.
oh, we do. Oh, okay.
She's asking to be let in.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Does she need to press a button to unmute herself?
I'm trying to bring her over as a panelist. It doesn't look like she's able to. do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, nope, she's on her way.
Rejoin.
Okay, yeah, hello, hey, how's it going? Hey, my name is Sherman. I'm the regional sales manager for Seabright Solar. So I was just listening to some of your conversation. The one thing I would strongly, because when you look at the panels that the Newtons have selected for their home, those are actually the top performing panels that you can get on the marketplace. There is no better technology out there. Feel free to do the research on that. Now, when you talk about the white lines and stuff like that, a white backsheet panel actually performs much better than a black backsheet panel. And that's why you have that design on there. Now, as far as like a monochromatic, we do have options available for that, but that's going to actually significantly downgrade the value that he has chosen for his house.
So the trim that surrounds, the framing that surrounds each panel has to be a contrasting metallic color?
So you could get the black on black panels, but they're going to be less performing than the black on white sheet that you have there. I implore you to definitely look up the SunPower M series and realize that this is the best technology that's available in the marketplace by far.
The panel itself or just the outside frame?
We're talking about the outside.
Just the outside frame is, I think, what the question is really about. It's not necessarily about the technology necessarily. It's about the frame that surrounds the actual.
So the frame itself is black. So it's not metal or anything like that, but you're going to have that white lineage that goes in the middle of it.
Well, I see, so you have the white line between the individual, like the
Cells.
4-inch cells.
During
Yeah.
the summer, yeah,
So the frame of the panel is going to be black.
that's correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so what we're looking at there in that photo, let's go back to the photo.
So let me see what the photo they provide you. I don't think that's an accurate photo, to be entirely honest with you.
That would be very helpful if you had a picture of what the panel is really gonna look like.
Yeah, we're not talking about the white squares in the middle. It's just the
Well,
perimeter.
ideally,
perimeter.
the white squares in the middle would be black.
So I think
The frame, the little square frames would be the whole thing would be monochromatic, which would have nothing to do with whatever's backing the photovoltaic cells, but long story short, if you could provide us with a photo of what it really looks like, that would be, I guess, essential. I mean, because obviously we're talking about something that may not even be.
Yeah. No, I completely respect that. And I'll have to get with my permitting team that put this package together. I would say if you do look at the, take a chance to pop into Google and stuff like that, you'll see that the M series panels do have a black frame that goes around it.
Do you want us
Well,
to
let
just
me-
pull it up here?
Scroll down in the specs
Just
photos,
pull it up.
there are.
Okay.
Can you spell it for me, Sherman?
Yep, so that is M series, SunPower M series.
I'm sorry, just one
Or-
second. Sun Tower,
Yep.
M series?
Yep. 440 watt panels. I believe that was what you guys got. It's either 440 or 435s, same product line.
So, can you see my screen, Sherman?
Let me just pull it back up, just real quick. Yep, I can see your screen. So that's, pop that. I don't think that's the accurate picture. Hold on, let me see if I can't. I mean, is there any way I could share a screen with you, or is that not possible?
That would be.
Let me just go to my website real quick and see if I can't pull up some similar installations. So I can get you an accurate depiction of what that looks like, or I can get that as early to you as tomorrow. So give me one sec to see what I can find. Where is my gallery?
and the specs.
She said if you scroll down, maybe.
All that, but it's just,
So let me pull up my Zoom. If you guys would allow me to share screen, I'll show you a picture.
Yeah,
Nothing good here, right? Okay, all right, Sherman, please go ahead.
Let me see. So this is a long list of the projects that we have. So this is more of a takeaway view. Like you can kind of see that black frame on the outside and you can't really see the lines that are in there. Depending on depiction. So here's another one that these are more cleaner panels. So that would be a better depiction of what they would look like.
okay, so which is the picture, like, is that the picture? Would that be what?
Oh, these are all various. So let me just see. Anything you see with the white lines here. So like this one. This is a good depiction. You can see the black frame that, oh, sorry, it just zoomed out on me. You can see the black frame that goes around the M series on the side here. So it's not a black on the outside. Now, right here on the top of the panel, like on the face, there is a silver lining, but the actual side facing panel is black. And on top of that, we're going to put a critter guard on his system, right? So this would be a black sheet that covers that side anyways to keep the squirrels and the birds out.
Right.
You can see at the front of the panel.
The contrasting metallic grids, that's the way it is. It has to be that way. That's your system.
Yep, this is the system right here.
So certainly, okay.
It's not facing the street.
No, that's the point that was made.
Yeah.
You see a section of it from Spring Street walking up, as I did, but it's hard to gain an appreciation for the entire roof, because, it's shielded by vegetation in the home, and,
pretty high.
yeah. So basically, again, we're here to offer our comments and suggestions. Like, I guess we were hoping, it's certainly a nicer picture than the panel that was in your application.
Yeah.
I already texted the owner to make sure that is rectified as soon as possible, because that is unacceptable on our part.
I think that the slight aesthetic offense does not outweigh the carbon offset.
Okay,
Just a quick question, where is the disconnects and all that fun stuff? I saw it on the one elevation, I wasn't sure what side that's on.
What was that one more time?
The disconnects for all this, because a lot of times they just put them wherever they want, so it's.
I mean, if you pull up the project, let me see, because that would be a good question. I am unfamiliar with the project, to be entirely honest with you, just because like this was done by a representative of us that actually is a part-time employee now. So I got tasked to meeting with you guys this evening. So let me just see if I can't figure that out.
I took you off screen share. Is there something in the document? submitted?
Elevations.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, perfect. You guys got the data. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Okay, so it's on the opposite side of the house?
It's on the opposite side of the house where the existing gas and electric inputs are.
Okay, so it's based on the photos you had shown of representative, you've got the AC disconnects from the monitor, but there's only showing one little square box. Is that really accurate?
So that is accurate because we do use microinverters. So we don't need that giant gray box that's, most commonly associated with solar systems, because that inversion from DC to AC electricity happens at a local level versus that central level. So yes, it would just be that one small box.
And no conduit between there and the roof, that's all internal?
So there would definitely be a conduit that runs down the side of the house because it does have to connect, right? Like we can't avoid
Yeah.
that.
But if it's on the opposite side of where the panels are, so you're gonna have
Yeah, we can do an attic run. We'll do an attic run, no problem.
Okay.
I'll just double check with my engineering team to make sure that they're aware of that tomorrow. So that way we punch through the attic on one side and we'll come out the other side. So that way it's as hidden as possible.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of what I was getting at was, because it's not really shown, so you're gonna have a conduit that's gonna come out below the soffit of the roof on the opposite side, it's gonna run down to that box.
Yep.
At grade level.
so just one last thing, that little missing panel, horizontal panel.
Yep.
That's
So
it's there, it's missing because there's just no
So that is most likely due to a plumbing pipe or a vent pipe that's
That's a bathroom vent there.
bathroom
Ah,
vent.
okay, that's
Perfect.
what-
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the, you know, being the south side, that's the most efficient section of the roof. So we're trying to maximize the value while also keeping it as far away from the road as possible. And that's why we did that instead of versus adding one to the other side of the home.
Mhm. And you can't push the panels any further east.
Unfortunately not due to fire codes. We had to have access pathways on each side of the system.
Right, no, but I'm just suggesting that if you pushed it east, you'd have even more access on the western side.
You mean towards the front of the home?
Yeah, move if I understand my orientation correctly, the rear is east and the front is west.
That's correct, but I believe that would bring it closer to the street and make it more visible, correct?
I'm saying.
Go the other way, towards the back of the house.
Towards the east, towards the back. What am I looking at the front? on the-
Sherman, that would put it further towards the back of the house, but I believe there was issues with the shading from the trees.
Oh, okay, so sorry, my apologies. Like I said, new to the project, I was looking at this looked like the front of the house here. So yeah,
I'm
there
just glad Seabright was able to get someone on board with the very short notice that we got.
yeah, you know, I got tasked with it last quick, you know, being the manager at Seabright, you know, I get the good stuff. So let me just pull up the shading report super quick, and I'll let you know definitively why that is the way it is. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 sec. Apologies, guys. Where is it? Right here. All right, so let me pull up the shading report super quick. Oh yeah, so that's due to the tree shading that's right next to the home. If you guys want, I can definitely share my screen again so you can see the shading report that we're talking about. So you can see why it is, the way it is. Completely up to you.
Yeah,
Yep, go for it.
All right, cool. So when you look at the shading report, you see the colors here. So the
Yeah.
dark purple is completely not a feasible option just because it wouldn't be economical to actually put solar panels there. Now, if you want, we could actually move this to the east. I don't see it, or towards is this the back of the home over here? It looks like the way from the driveway.
That's accurate, yes.
It'd be well
Yeah.
served, and you'd have a better pattern if you moved it further
Oh.
east.
You know what? This doesn't look like the final design, to be honest with you, and I apologize, guys. So let me see if I can't find a final
Everything
here.
might be working out then.
Sorry. Like I said, I got brought into this pretty late, so I am trying to do the best I can with what I have. I do not see the final design. That's very interesting. So,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but in diagram 2, where you see 1, which is the north face of the room. in
Yep.
Diagram 2, it looks like from your shading, if you could push all the panels, the whole arrangement of panels a little bit further west, it would be less visible from the street. And also, it seems like you'd improve your solar capacity a little bit.
questioning whether or not that would make it remove a panel based on the pipes that you see here, these little 3 white dots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility. I could definitely ask that information. But you know, at the end of the day, we're gonna make sure that we give them the most optimal system possible. So if it's a possibility, I think they would have explored it, if that makes sense.
Well,
But I can make that request.
not to cut you off, but my question is, whatever the elevation that was shown in the submission package doesn't really quite match this. So which
Yeah.
is the actual final version?
So you're looking at the final site survey design. So I don't have access to the final site survey because I'm not the original sales rep on this account.
That's fine. I'm
So-
sorry, I didn't understand, is it the diagram we're looking at now the final, or was it the elevation we saw previously? That's the final.
So this was probably the pre-sale or the initial design. And what they do is they set out a site surveyor to do measurements and things like that. And what you're looking at in the permit packet is the final design that was developed after that site survey was completed.
All right, so, well, Okay, are you closing down the possibility that you might move the array further east which would lessen the visual impact, but also possibly increase the solar efficiency, or?
So
you're-
I am very open to it. My only concern is that if it makes us remove a panel or not, based on the access pathways. I don't know that information because I don't have the actual, like the engineering program that they use, so I don't see the exact measurements here, so I can't tell you like, hey, if I move this down to the right, say 3 feet, is that gonna make me remove one of the panels that's on the system? Does that make sense?
The applicant, I mean, is the applicant open to having the company study that?
As long as it didn't impact our ability to get enough power out of it.
Well, no, it's quite the opposite. We were hoping it also improves your.
I believe there are trees that block a
But-
fair amount of that light because our neighbors have massive overgrown trees that are not captured in the image you have up
Yeah.
on your screen.
And the,
They've engineered this to death, so it doesn't seem like they will be able to get more panels. up.
and the, one of the other things I should point out in that last image that you had up,
Yeah,
there's the tree on the bottom left corner that's making the house making that really dark purple area. So that was a diseased tree that had to cut, that came down, and so that tree
Oh.
doesn't exist anymore.
I got
So that's part of the reason why they went with the design and got more panels in that section.
Yes, right, we should just forget this whole image.
Yeah, that's not
That's-
accurate at all.
That's what I'm taking away too.
Yes.
I apologize, guys, for muddying the waters here. I just want to pull that up so you can kind of see a rationale, you know? But like I said, I'm sure, you know, when you look back at the track record, we're very focused on customer satisfaction and making sure that we put the best efficient system up on somebody's roof. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure that we've done our due diligence to make sure that the array that he has on the roof now is the most efficient possible. So I could definitely inquire to see if that's different, but I think, you know, I would be hesitant to say that there is a possibility that moving it back would even have a chance. Do you know what I mean?
All right, I guess then what the bottom line is that the panel, the actual panel you showed us, it seems to me anyways, it seems like maybe it's even nicer looking than the one that's in the applicant's.
It absolutely is. And I knew it wasn't the right panel when I wasn't able to chat, just because you can see a blue tint on that panel that's in the application. And that's definitely the wrong panel. And like I said, I already texted the owner to make sure that he is aware that this happened, and he's gonna get it resolved ASAP. I can already tell you he's not happy with the permit team, based on the response that I got.
Looks a little.
Okay,
I
so,
think he's had a rough day, I can tell.
all right,
Yeah.
and it's, all right, so.
I
guess-
apologize. I have to deal with this on the state level every day. So this is,
So we should drag this meeting out longer.
oh God, please don't.
Anyway, no, we're very much trying to foster what the village wants, which is.
No, I understand, and
Kudos to you for having the panels being installed. We're not trying to discourage that at all. That actually, we're more open to it than prior HPC administrations were. So,
I understand. I'm also trying to trying to put in the best system possible that's most efficient and longest lasting, so that we don't have to use as the resource use is less in the long run.
I
Yeah,
don't think I saw Tesla though in your parking lot, really.
No, there's not a Tesla. No, I don't.
All right, that'll come next maybe. All right.
Oh God,
No,
no.
we do not believe in Tesla.
I-
We do not believe in Tesla. Seabright is infinitely better than Tesla. I research companies to the ends
Yeah.
of the earth, and Seabright is truly the best, most aesthetically pleasing you can ever get.
My wife is referring to the Tesla solar panels. If that she
Oh,
thought
they're-
you were.
Oh, no, actually, I was referring,
They're
yeah,
good.
I was referring to the car.
Yeah, no, I figured you might have been referring to the car. No, we do not own a Tesla. We own a.
All right, well, that'll come next then. Shall we put that in the certificate of appropriateness? All right.
God, please.
So listen, do I hear a motion? Are no more questions or comments?
No.
So is there a motion to vote on this?
I motion to vote.
Okay, and, can we have do we have a second?
Second it?
And may we stipulate in the vote that, approval, if granted, is based on the, second photo, or the revised photograph that the vendor had shown us, not on the photograph that's in the application itself. And that, again, this is only a suggestion, and we leave it up to the applicant because it's in his best interest. If it turns out that the solar company can study moving the whole array further east, maybe it
And I don't think that actually would help, given that the tree died, so
right, well.
no
okay,
longer that there, so that.
Getting
it's
back to that, but it's just something we're asking. You're on the honor system.
I could ask my engineer tomorrow to
Yeah.
just check it.
Nothing
It-
like
guys,
do it.
I will give you a call tomorrow and just let you know if there's any difference.
But we're not, so basically, that's the only contingency in the approval I'm proposing.
All right, understood.
Correct image.
The
A
Corporation Council is reminding us the motion is just to grant the certificate of appropriateness.
yes, based on, with a certain understanding that the applicant's package.
I think that might be the wrinkle here, because this is, the application that is before you is thus. Stuart, I don't know if you're able to unmute if I'm not really relaying this properly.
Well, we did that with the vote on the restaurant. We said that the gas line couldn't be, had to remain covered. And we still voted approval for it. So we're just trying to push this along. I'm sorry, we have to ask the village council how to.
I understand entirely.
Anyways, that's the precedent I have in my mind from today. It's actually a correction of the.
Okay, so it's not part of the resolution. The condition to allow for a different plan is not part of the resolution.
No, it'll just be that that's something we suggested, but
The product data is corrected.
yeah, that the product data is what was shown to us at the meeting, not the photo, not the solar panel that was in the application itself.
Okay, Sherman, would you mind terribly emailing me the photo that you presented to the board? You can just send it to the email address plan, PLAN, @villageofossining.org, so we can have it documented for the record, please.
Sorry, one more time. That is plan at the village.
Village of Ossining, OSSINING, as in girl, .org.
All right, so it's Village of Ossining, and it's not the Village of Ossining, it's just the Village of
Nope,
Ossining.
just villageofossining.org.
All right, got it.
Thank
I'll
you,
get
sir.
that emailed over to you right now.
Great.
Thank you, Sherman.
All right, so is that clear for the vote?
We have a motion and a second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, based on what we just discussed with the stipulation of the clarification of the
Aye.
solar panel spec?
Mhm.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's passed unanimously, and, I guess I'll sign the C of A as soon as I receive it. Hopefully, maybe this week you'll get it.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome. Good night.
Good night. Good. Look forward to seeing you in the neighborhood. Okay, terrific. We go with our application. Can we go off record?
You can take a motion to adjourn, but this is still a public meeting.
They make a motion to adjourn.
Second, and second motion.
Okay, so we're adjourned. Now I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. One is this Wednesday, I'm supposed to go before the Board of Trustees and talk about what we're doing this year. And for Jason, I don't think I brought this along just to show you. I may have sent you a copy of it, I don't know. But last year,
Chair, you know we're still over Zoom, right? Just want to make sure you're.
oh, it's okay with me.
Okay, good.
Well,
Just want to make sure.
Um,
You said off the record.
it is off there, yeah, but you could turn it off. That's,
Well, I can't really.
oh, then you can, it's okay. It's a public meeting, all right. Any event, this is public anyways, the objectives, we had, and some of them have been accomplished. So I was just gonna remind the, board that we're, still working on this, and there's not time and no need, I think, to go over it right now. again. But one thing I wanted to ask was something that, we're in Zoom right now? Yep. And when do you turn it off, by the way?
When the meeting is over.
Okay, the meeting's adjourned, the meeting's over. That's what we voted on, to adjourn the meeting.
All right.
Okay.
Can I have a motion and a second?
Oh, I thought we did, but motion to adjourn for second?
Second the motion?
Okay, there we
Second the
go.
motion.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.